Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 8 of our COM 151 Introduction to Microsoft Office class. I hope that you've enjoyed our last 2 or 3 weeks as we've worked in Microsoft Excel, learning a lot about how to set up worksheets, how to do formulas, how to do charts, things like that. I think Excel is a program that we can use at work. It's a program that we will use at home, and hope that you picked up some good pointers and can kind of at least have a comfort level to get in there and play with it, kick the tires around, learn a little bit more about it, and that sort of thing. So if you have any more questions about Excel, please reach out to me, let me know. So far over the term, we've looked at a little bit of Microsoft Word, we've looked at PowerPoint, we've looked at Excel. Now beginning this week, we will look at a database program within Microsoft Office called Microsoft Access. Access is a database within the Microsoft product. As I mentioned earlier a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people will just use Excel as a database, and if you're just doing simple databases, Excel works very, very well. But Microsoft Access is a dedicated database, and so if you're doing more complex work, that kind of a database is applicable for us. So we're going to learn a little bit about database work this week. It really comes, it's two parts, I think, when you start thinking about Microsoft Access and you start working about on databases. The first big part of Access is designing the database. You'll spend time on the front end of it before you ever put any information in, thinking about what should be in the database. And the rule of thumb that I've always told people is put everything in it that you can think of, because later down the road it's much more difficult to do that, and you never really know what kind of questions that someone might ask that you'd want to pull information out of the database. So the designing of the database is probably one of the most thought-provoking and important things that you do, because once it's designed and once it's saved, from then on all we're doing is putting information in it and then asking questions, or what they would call queries, out of the information. So designing a database is extremely important. When you open up Microsoft Access, one of the first things that you'll see is a fields and columns similar to Microsoft Excel. And what you will do is you will build in the various categories that you think, the headings, if you will, that you may want to use. For an example, if I'm doing an employee database, I would do last name, first name, middle name, maybe middle initial, your address, that kind of thing, email, phone numbers, male, female, demographic information, all the things you could think of that would describe the person or the employee. Now, as you design the database, that one of the things that's important is, for an example, the address. Instead of saying, Mark Evans lives at 3007 Pearson Farm Drive, Brown Summit, North Carolina 27214, each of those pieces of information really should be in a different column. So it should be Evans in a column, last name, Mark, first name, in a column, middle name or middle initial in a column, street address like 3007 Pearson Farm should be in its own column, city, Brown Summit, state, North Carolina, zip 272. Some folks will say area code 336, and then the regular phone number, etc. So you see how you break the data down into smaller pieces, because later, once the database is populated with information, you may have questions like, how many people that work here live in Brown Summit? How many of our employees are at zip code 27214? Or how many of our employees have an area code of 434? So you try, and as you design your database, to think about all the questions that someone might want to know about that data ahead of time. So it's a program that's extremely powerful. Very easy to use, I'd say on the back side, if you will, but takes a little bit of work on the front side, designing it and setting it up the way that you need it to set up. And so you'll be learning a little bit about that this week. It's only a 1-week session that we do access. I would encourage you to learn it, learn more about it. A lot of people use it. It's a powerful program. I use it for inventory. In my job, I use it for employee databases, if you will. I keep some collections of things and like that in there, and so forth. So once you have it designed, then you can you create what's considered a dashboard or an entry point, where it's very, very easy for you or anyone else to put information into the database. And that's just fill in the blanks, if you will, and saving it. So the designing is harder, takes more work, and then inputting data is very, very easy. And then you write reports or you write queries. And a report might be just like we described. Give me an employee list of people who have been at the company 5 years or more. And you would write at query and it would give you a report. Now that report is saved, and as you write each of those reports or those questions or queries, you would save them, and then as you put information into the database, those reports automatically update on a regular basis. So if there was a question that your boss was going to ask you once a month or every couple of weeks or something like that, you would obviously set up the database, put the information in, build a report, and then all you would have to do is whatever day your boss is asking for that report, just simply print it out. It would stay updated at all times. So that's the beauty of databases. That's what databases are all about. There are a lot of databases being used out behind the scenes, a lot of them. If you buy anything at Amazon.com or do any of those sort of things, there are databases running in the background. And so it's a very fun program to learn. So I hope that you'll enjoy practicing with it, kind of getting a taste of what databases are all about. And you can let me know if you have any questions. This is week 8. So we have week 8, 9, and 10, and we will be finished. So again, I'd like to encourage you to make sure you're going out looking at the grade book. If you have zeros somewhere, that means I don't have that work. If you've done that work and I don't have it, take a picture of it, tell me what it is, email it to me, we'll make sure the grades get changed. If you do see a 0, everything but the discussions, you can still get a grade. So just because you have a 0 doesn't mean it's over, you're going to fail, you're in trouble. Go out there, get that work done, and get it to me. Week 8, 9, 10 is all we've got. We're going to run out of time here before you know it, and I'd like you to get the best grade that you possibly can. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in class.